this is going to be a good experience. He goes there and he didn't even bring a jacket with him. He didn't think they were going to be in the 100. And on the award nights, they called up, and they were in the 100. And the next day, they have a pitch. All the 100 companies have a pitch with VCs. And he knew instinctively that the amount he wanted, was going to be too small. So he quoted another amount, but he told me not to share that, But he quoted an amount in US dollars, still in single digit, And the VCs told him his bite size was too small, and they said they want to invest in global plays. And he said at that point he realized how small, Malaysian entrepreneurs are still conditioned to think, they're not really thinking global. But what I was amazed about was that we've been talking about entrepreneurs needing to go global since at least 2003 in my mind, And this is in December of 2007, and he was aware of it, but he feels that our entrepreneurs still haven't been able to have that embedded in their thought process. They really need to go global and have a business plan, that helps them to go global. He's now energized by that to go global, but I was just struck by that. So it's a weakness on the part of entrepreneurs. And this gentleman I spoke to this morning also said that a lot of Malaysian entrepreneurs at technology companies, when they meet people overseas, they give you a brochure, say, this is my brochure, this is what I can do for you. And he says the language of marketing is a lot more subtle. And he said you need to collaborate. He said, I think we have opportunity to work together to do something. And he shared an example where just a few months ago there was a global conference in Malaysia, and they had 4 buyers, representing global companies here, and they had about 30-40 Malaysian vendors come in and try to pitch. And at the end of it, the 4 buyers, about a night later, they were having a casual drink with him. And they said they were not impressed because none of the vendors, could address a need, that these guys had, a pain point these companies had. And collectively, these 4 people who make the key decisions, had over $1 billion budget. They say we're looking for companies, we don't care where, but do you have a capability you can help us get? And that was quite saddening to me and also alarming, that this is our entrepreneurs still have that gap. So I know you've experienced it yourself too. So I don't know how you think, and obviously we must address this, right? But also then how much should government do, and how much of it is the entrepreneur's own role, right? Which it should be. So as it is, he says, the Malaysian government is already doing way too much for entrepreneurs, and you've heard that before, and I think there's a fine line there we're playing with, So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I'm a bit of a mix when it comes to these things. I do believe that there should be government intervention when there's a market failure. Like the data you just gave, at the seed funding level, we intervene because there is a need for such funding. But I am also very market oriented in nature. I think that you shouldn't assist where there is no market failure.
No market.
You shouldn't spoon feed. Where the people should be doing things for themselves. So I think just a few things about going global. It's a lot easier to be global in mindset if you had perhaps started out in a country like the US. Because the US is a melting pot of so many nationalities out there. Everything that you do out there gets benchmarked against the best standards. So even if they were just thinking about the American market, that product is global by virtue of its input, its people, its benchmarking. It is global from day one because you're already playing with the best. So going global coming from a small developing country, I think involves a very different mindset. It involves getting the exposure, for our entrepreneurs, which means that they've got to find a way to expose themselves to the latest trends, technologies, and benchmark themselves against that. And not only that, there has to be a willingness to explore other markets.
For sure.
Like one of the ways that we've done it in Cradle is this partnership with Mentor Square.
Which is something quite recent, right? Now into its 3rd month now.
So that allows them access to about close to 100 international mentors from 25 countries.
25 countries. Excellent.
Now people ask me, why international mentors? Tak ada local mentor. They ask me.
But we've tried that before.
It's not about that. It's not about local or international. At the end of the day, it's about when you say to people, let's create a global mindset. How do you create a global mindset when you've never met anyone from outside? You've never discussed any business issues from the outside. You don't know what other alternative markets aside from your own look like or work. You know, and unless this interaction is started early on, you know, perhaps right from the very day one when you're creating your prototype.
Okay.
You know, once you get acclimatized to mixing with the international crowd, then your mindset is
mindset, change.
You know, you develop
expectations,
your according to international benchmarks.
Okay.
You know what's needed in other alternative markets, and you have friends out there who can help you access those markets. You know, so I think the mindset and the access to that mindset has to be built.
Has to be much broader also,
But a lot of it is about the entrepreneurs helping themselves. I mean, if you look at the entrepreneurs from India, you look at how aggressive they are. They go out to the American markets. They come here looking for opportunities. They're hungry. You know, and I think that part, the government shouldn't intervene in that part. That part should come from the entrepreneur himself.
Yeah, definitely.
How far you want to succeed is really up to you.
Definitely, I think we need to highlight also our entrepreneurs, you know, who have made it on their own, or you know, with a bit of government programs help, right? But what has been the factor that has helped them, overcome this hump, and not keep coming back to the government and say, hey, we need you to help subsidize our training for CMMI, professionals and all that. And this gentleman I met this morning said that the government subsidizes a lot of the training for IT companies too, but then that frees up cash flow for the entrepreneurs, which they should actually reinvest into marketing or or training of their sales staff and also product development. But he doesn't see a lot of that, and he says sometimes the CEOs use that and just use that money for themselves, buy a new Merc or whatever. And that's again the weakness of the CEOs, and he's mentioning that we really need to work on that. But then, that's such a broad-based challenge that do you just conveniently blame the education system, or do you blame not enough successes, from people who've done it the true grit and hard way?
Well, again, you should only address the government should only address matters where there is a market. So,
and if the failure is in the weakness of the CEO himself, there's only so much you can do, right? That you're bringing in the mentors at an early stage is something you can do, right? And you don't want to do too much of that anyway.
I think when it comes to the utilization of government funds, we've got to be really clear about what we're trying to achieve. And we've got to be really clear about the results. You shouldn't spend big monies if the results are not there.
Exactly.
It's better for you to utilize small monies, and see how far these companies could go based on small monies. I think going forward, the government will be looking at the effectiveness of the utilization of the funds.
I think that's extremely important.
It's extremely important. I mean, the funds are there, but at the end of the day, is it prudent for us to utilize it willy-nilly, or should we utilize it in a way where we combine everything within the ecosystem to value add and to make sure that the things that need to be achieved is achieved, but not by splashing the funds.
Of course not. No.
I think effectiveness of utilization of funds is paramount.
I think it's great that they're going to start, doing this, and I think you need to highlight also then, entrepreneurs who have used the funds successfully and grown their business, and those who haven't, because you can learn from those who haven't also, and just like you've learned from some of your businesses that didn't work, and that's why you're so good at what you do, and I mean, so we got to get away from that, that there are huge lessons to be learned too, from not just people who fail. They couldn't necessarily have failed, but they just made some wrong missteps, and they're, a year behind where they would have been, right? So I mean, I want to see more of that, and I don't, and it just frustrates me because there's so much more learning you can do from that. But anyway, with that, we got to end the show. We hope you've enjoyed it. As usual, send your emails to us, and also post it on the show itself if you can. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great and productive week ahead with technology, and we'll see you soon.